Meet Andrew Bonarrigo. This guy built his business from Zippo, stone by stone, into a really powerful masonry business. Like a lot of Mainers, he's deciding how much bigger he wants it to be before the tax associated with running a business in Maine becomes too great. I'm Jonathan Bush, and this is Maine for Keeps. Let's listen. Andrew Bonarrigo. I believe we met, is it right that we met at North Haven Grocery when you were bootlegging non-grocery food?
That is correct. I was just taking up their seat space.
You had your crew, so I assume they might have bought a burger or something.
Oh yes, we very much every morning they'd get their breakfast and most of them would buy their lunch there, yes.
And then you, the rugged boss of all the rugged men, opened up your dainty little salad with your homemade little stew or whatever it was. I remember that.
Yep.
And that was our first meeting. I had to be what 8 years ago?
Something yeah,
like
2017, 18, right in there.
Okay. And you were where? Then you were with at that point. You already were your own business with your own crew. How did you get to that point? Where did you start? How did you end up with that company?
I would say in '93, I was working for another masonry company and decided that I kind of wanted to do this on my own. So I left them, and my brother and I did the first couple of jobs in Rockland for E.L. Spears on a couple of their buildings. And I bought the old Jordan Seafood Market and clean used brick and the old Rockland Jail, and we did the same thing and cleaned 40 dump truck loads out of the Rockland Jail and sold the bricks to get the business started.
Wow, so you were the quaint brick supply source.
Well, it was the antique bricks, yep.
Yeah, the good ones. I know that, yeah.
Yeah.
Not with the holes in them and the little, yeah.
Correct. The from 1920 back, they used the old lime mortar, and the bricks were a good water struck brick, so they'd come off and they'd have the nice purple tint and the black ring to them, and really pretty when they're done up again.
Fantastic. And what was the capital? That was that working capital? Did you buy gear with that?
Yes, built. So the debris left over from the dump, after cleaning everything, built the shop parking lot in Thomaston, the first shop parking lot, and then we were able to I cleaned 35,000 bricks in Rankin's warehouse, bought them all, and it carried us through the winter, me and a couple guys, and that was just kind of a jumping stone to get things rolling. And I would say in the first 8 years, it was touch and go as far as, the business and doing it right and
getting work back to back.
Yeah, just getting work back to back, figuring it all out. Probably 2001, I started going to North Haven, which was a big boost in the company, doing some newer work, not the dirty, crappy work anymore. We got to the new work. We're having fireplaces to do all in the mid-coast area with different companies, plus on North Haven.
And did you start, was that when the first foundations, were you doing the first foundation on North Haven, or had you done some before?
No, the first one was on North Haven. It was Missy Jane's and Bill Jane's house on North Shore. And we did that for Cooper Construction. But that was probably when the business really started making progress and started building crew. Still was up in the air a little bit, on whether it was really going to work or not.
And you would pay crew. How did you get your crew?
So I first, just hired a couple guys I knew, paid them by the day, a little bit of cash here and there.
Cash off the bucket, off the top of the roll.
Yeah. When I would hire guys to come clean bricks, and I'd pay them 10 cents a brick and sell them for 35. So just give them cash. I'd have a bunch of older masons that, yeah, I'll come on a rain day or a weekend and clean 500 brick and call it a day. So that got things rolling. And I would say the first foundation was about 2006 on North Haven, right in that area.
And you bootstrapped, so frames, molds, you bootstrap all that? You borrowed the money for it? You had it? What about all the gear for that?
Well, I borrowed the money from all the gear and everything, and I off my mother.
Good
And
girl, Mom.
yeah, which never really got paid back. And it was kind of a mutual agreement with her and I. But, she would back me up. Eventually, that had to go away. She was done doing that, and I had to stand on my own 2 feet, which was difficult. Having I was with my first wife, and I had two daughters at the time, and trying to get this business really up and going. So, but probably 10, 11 years ago is really when
Started
it
to
just
clear the treetops.
clear the treetops. It was going to happen. And then probably around 2018, definitely when Jenny and I met, my second wife, things just really kind of picked up. She was definitely a blessing in that.
One of the things that I remember about you, when we met, you were about to do some work for me, and I've done a lot of construction projects in Maine, and your project was very odd for me because it was on time and on budget. I've had projects be on budget, and I've had projects be on time. What is it that you did? He's like, I overcharged you and I delayed the day. No, what did you do? How do you keep guys showing up? This is not easy work. Everyone's talking about can't get help. How did you, is there a trick here? What do you do to keep people showing up to be able to delay? Everyone says you're always on time and you're always on budget. What is it?
Well, I mean, I've been doing it long enough. So I've seen things so many times that I can pretty well put a very accurate number on anything that we're doing.
Instinctive padding on the upfront, like the right amount of shit's gonna go wrong and you got it in. What about actually getting guys to show up and stay with?
Well, I mean, we're really on top of the board company. Right now, I just hired the number 8 employee yesterday, um, and they get paid very good. I take care of them. They work 5 days a week, year round. We haven't really,
And is
missed a
that part
day.
of your commitment? Is like, I'm gonna find shit year round. You're not gonna
Yeah,
bounce around. Yeah.
right. So I try not to lay anybody off, and I haven't had to do anything like that for 11 years. I mean, when I first hired Stefan, who's second in command, um, I hired him 11 years ago, and I told him I had 3 months of work if he wanted to leave his job at Hamilton Marine, and he was 20 years old, and come work for me. And he decided to, and here we are 11 years later, and he hasn't missed a day of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have so you also lucked out finding a couple guys up front
Oh, yeah.
that were incredible. When did you sort of fully do payroll benefits? When did you kind of go full company, LLC, law firm? Like when did this become formal, as it were?
So the corporation would have been around 2017.
2017.
Yeah,
What
when
made
I
you decide to bite the bullet and do that shit? Me?
yeah, yes, you. um well, I knew if I wanted to move forward that I kind of had to do some different things with the company. I never had put myself on payroll until I became a corporation, and then once I did do that, I actually didn't make. I made more money than I had prior years. So it was kind of that shift of growing the company up, and making that next move. And it also, secured things for Jenny and I's future when I realized Jenny and I were going to move forward after meeting. That solidified kind of separating us from the company.
Yeah. So there could be a company if you weren't at it. It might even be something to sell to somebody else and make some money on it.
Well, that's the plan. The plan would be to hopefully Stefan will be that person.
Well, he better pay up, as there's other people who are looking at your business. Just in case Stefan's watching this, I want to make sure. It's not obvious. It's not definitely going to him.
Right.
So, and yet there's been a couple of punches in the nose on the business front. Going over the table, paying the taxes, payroll taxes. Describe for me your experience of that.
Well, I mean, it's not easy. I tried to do payroll myself in the early years of the company, and you never seem to be able to find the money to pay the payroll taxes or anything like that. It was always a struggle. You're always, stressed out about things like that. Once the corporation formed and I hired Bangor Payroll Service to handle that part of it, it really took a lot of pressure off me. Every week, I have to mail in hours and they deal with everything.
So you get your business to go from just you and your brother to informal with some guys to formal, where you're running a payroll, you're over the table, as it were, and then the Family Leave Act passes. How did you process that?
Well, at first, it didn't really click in what they were doing. And, after talking with my accountant and everything about it, because I kept getting the emails and, you got to sign this up. You got to be January 5th. It's got to be up and going, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what is this? And she finally explained it all to me and she got us all ready to go. So it's just one more thing to make it easy for people not have to work in this state. That's all it is. They did it with COVID and paying them so much money to sit home 4 years ago, and we couldn't have anybody work, and then it took, years to be able to get those guys to actually come in to work, because of all the free money that we're getting. So I think just this is another way of, coddling and saying, here you go, we understand you stay home, we want to keep you there, we don't want you to have to work too hard.
Yeah. And you've done a brilliant, I mean, I sort of think of the thing that you've done that's been the hardest is getting guys to show up. You could know Stefan, but this is a crew of some size, and unpredictable weather, unpredictable pleasure. Could be a great day and it feels good. Could be a shit day, you get nothing done, brutal, and you're on a ferry and you're coming back in the dark and it's cold. And all of a sudden, there's this prisoner's dilemma for your crew where it's like, I know a guy who, for much less than the cold I have, or my dog is sick or whatever, just got paid and didn't go. So you've got to somehow hire people who are going to withstand that pressure when they've got people all around them who are not withstanding it, who are just taking it.
And taking advantage of the system. Yeah. So, I mean, you're right. And now I haven't really explained to the crew what this paid time off, family time leave is off, so that
maybe they never find out.
So it's just, the guys are real good. I pay them very well. They all have the 401k retirement plan that the state forced us to get. So, and I'm generally good. So if we work 3 days and lose 2 days because of weather, I'll give them that fourth day. So everybody gets their 40 hours. I try to be very fair about that. The company does well enough. I wouldn't be where I am without them. And most of them need to have that 40 hours or they're not going to survive. So, and, you're you're starting, you got guys that are making 24, 25 bucks an hour. They get vacation times, they get benefits, the 401k, all of that stuff. So it's not a bad gig for what we do.
I want to switch topics to the because you switched angles to the beautiful kitchen behind you and the cabinet work.
Yeah.
That is a kitchen in a house that you built
Yeah.
after work.
Yes.
So
After work.
how did you bought a garage? How did it work?
How did I make it happen?
Yeah. I mean, you
Well,
bought essentially an empty barn, or did you build the barn?
yeah. So back around in 2022, Jenny and I had got married and we were living in Rockland. Jenny had owned the house here in Friendship prior that we were renting out the top and basement and the top floor. We were supposed to buy a house in Rockland and that fell through, and then the guy kicked us out. So Jenny and I actually were kind of homeless for a day, trying to figure out what are we going to do. And she came up with the idea of maybe we should just tear the old garage down and put a camper on the slab and keep an eye on our tenants. I'm like, oh my God, you're brilliant. But let's do it this way. Let's tear the old garage down. Let's move it back. Let's put up a 28 by 40 garage with the living space up above. We'll live there. And then let's give that a 5-year plan and we'll see what we have. We'll either have 3 rentals or 1 big house. So that put everything into motion. And I borrowed a little bit here. Her and I borrowed a little bit to get going. And then it was just me doing everything.
You're in this, somebody puts up the box, you're on the slab, and then upstairs you're building a house. You're actually doing masonry outdoors all day. And then you come back, gotta be 90% of the time in the dark. And now you're living on an air mattress, building your house.
Yes, once we had it watertight, we were living in the garage, in the basement of the garage.
Ground floor, yeah.
Yeah, on an air mattress, using a porta toilet and a garden hose for showers. And my wife would have to give me a shower with the garden hose. That was pretty cold in February. So it was pretty quick and don't move around too much. Let's get it done.
Get it in and out. Let's go.
It was a very, very wonderful day when we finally got plumbing in the bathroom and we didn't have to use the porta toilet or the hose anymore.
And now, and this is why you'll never ever give up on your hot tub.
No.
Nobody has earned a hot tub for life more than you. Well, I'm curious. You go to North Haven, and I was asked to give to the North Haven affordable housing, where I believe they just select people and either give them a house or they buy a house at half price or something like that. Were you aware of that program?
Yeah, I mean, I know a little bit about the program, and I actually had done a couple foundations for them last year for 2 houses that will be set this year. And I'm not 100% sure how it works. I do know that it's all subsidized, and I think maybe their houses cost almost $400,000 to do with the property, and I think they're allowing them to go for a couple $100,000. I think I heard, which to me still, I don't think half the people working in the grocery store out there could afford that. But maybe I'm wrong. I know that would be different. No, I mean, I pay my crew very well, but I think that still would be difficult for some of them.
It's an interesting idea. And how do you pick the person who gets the $200,000 value? Like, first of all, can they afford it? Second of all, like $200,000. Like, if it's worth 400 and you buy it for 200, somebody just got $200,000. Like, what did they do? And how did they demonstrate that it was they and not the next guy or the guy, I don't know, building a freaking house at night in the dark? Do you know how they do that?
No. I mean, I don't know how they justify what, who gets
to be the one.
Yeah. It's just once again, making it easy for the people that may not be able to or do not want to take on the challenge of earning their own way and being proud of something that they may have paid for, built, have. And when you build your own place and you're paying for your own place, you have a little bit more respect for your own place.
And yeah, I mean, and what a feeling. I'll like that hot tub overlooking that sunset after that ordeal to get into it. That's legendary.
Yeah, and I mean, Jenny and I both every day thank our lucky stars for what we have. And, and I thank Jenny because we wouldn't have this if it wasn't for Jenny.
What I want to switch gears again. One more switch. Just give me one more chapter here before the hot tub. Cement. We need cement for stuff. Like every single house has at least some cement. And Dragon Cement closed. And I thought, oh, they must have run out of cement. No, they have a 100-year supply of cement at Dragon in Rockland. Oh, well, why'd they close? Well, they were not able to get access to the natural gas pipeline. The city of Rockland forbade them from accessing the pipeline that had to go across town. So they closed. Have you noticed a change in the cost of cement?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's definitely been a change in cost in cement. There's definitely been a change in the cement itself. We're now having to come in from Quebec. It's called Quebec cement. Who knows how long that's going to last. But definitely it's a smaller bag. I really not 100% sure on the cost. I haven't quite checked that if it's more or less. I would assume it's probably more. And I'm surprised Dragon's saying that because they're trucking tractor trailer loads of cement in from Searsport that I believe is coming from overseas somewhere.
And I'm sure that the overseas cement is only made with solar energy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, the idea, cement takes a lot of energy to make. You would think that making cement with natural gas is as clean as it gets.
Right.
But apparently the plant was shut down on environmental grounds because they didn't want to burn more natural gas. And I'm like, I believe the permit for Dragon before they shut allowed them to burn tires and mattresses. I'm pretty sure that natural gas burns cleaner than tires and mattresses. So now we're getting it from Quebec and wherever you said the other place they truck it in and sell it out of there. Anyway, we'll learn more as time goes on. I can't believe with a 100-year supply, we've killed our only domestic cement producer in Maine.
So they have a 100-year supply that's still in the ground.
Still in the ground, not coming out if they can't, cook it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hear any of, I haven't heard all of that. I just know that they were shutting down. I know the cement's now coming from Quebec. Like, we used to be able to get type 1 for the concrete that Aaron mixes on the island, and now it's the Quebec cement. So he's gone up $50, $75 a yard because of that.
There you go.
Yeah.
That does not surprise me. Andrew Bonarrigo, you are the American dream. Self-built man living in his own self-built castle with a gorgeous view of Friendship, Maine. Thank you very much for joining Maine for Keeps.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to Maine for Keeps. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to follow us on social media, click and share with your friends, or get on to mainforkeeps.com. If you have ideas for new content or podcast guests, or if you'd like to give us some money to support the effort, be sure to click and send. We're at team@mainforkeeps.com and I'm at jb@mainforkeeps.com. Thanks. See you soon.